Well, hello there. I had a few verses I wanted to share with you real quick. The first one was Luke 12:47 through 48. The servant who knows his master's will and does not get ready or does not do what his master wants will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and yet does things deserving of punishment will be beaten with few blows. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded, and from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. And how much the Lord has given us, opening our eyes, saving us, bringing us from the darkness into the light. How much He's entrusted us with. What is it that God has entrusted us with but the truth? And to apply that truth to our life, and as we grow with Christ and we're being sanctified and purified and we're being cleansed, that we should apply those truths to our life and that we can continue to grow and be more useful to God for His good purpose, for His glory, His honor, not living for self, but living for Christ who died for us and rose again, saving us. Because we are accountable for our own actions, for our own decisions. For what God has entrusted us with, we are responsible for our own choices, for our own free will, for our families. God has entrusted us as being to take care of them, to help them see the truth. God has given us the health, the time, the resources. How are we using these things? Are we being good stewards with what God has given us? Are we using our talents to glorify God? Are we giving and surrendering our money and our time and saying, Lord, take this and use me and show me what to do with it, that I give up my own way, but I want you to have control over my life? Because we got to be aware of these things. We must pay more close attention to what we have heard, at least we fall away. We don't want to fall away. We want God to use us. We want God to be glorified. And God has told us you are held accountable for yourself, for what you know, for what I've given you, for what I've shown you, for what I've opened your eyes to. Right? So if God opens our eyes and gives us truth and we don't apply it, right, through His Word, because the Word says, don't just listen to the Word, but do it. Right? That's a wise man. That the wise man built his house on the rock. Okay, so Matthew 25:29. For everyone who has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken. We don't want what God has given us to be taken from us because we chose to reject and live in sin. God is showing us and telling us we're held accountable, that we should be good stewards of the time that He has given us, that we should take care of everything that we have, and that we should do for Him and not for ourselves, that we should give Him the glory and to keep our eyes on Christ and not on the things of this world, because this world is distracting and it's easy to get pulled away because our time is short, and that's a promise. It doesn't matter how long you live, because at the end of it, it's always short. It's just the way it works. But we give you praise, Lord. Let's ask the Lord to use us, to mold us, that we won't be blinded by sin, that we won't be living in that willful sin, but that we'll be usable and moldable, that He has control in our lives, and that we'll choose to live for Him and not for ourselves, and that we realize and understand that we are held accountable, and we cannot justify our sin and our shortcomings, and we cannot make excuses. We are accountable. We want God to say, good and faithful servant, not you evil, wicked servant. We want God to be pleased with us and the way that we live our life. And we can't do this on our own. We know that we need God. We have to stay plugged in. We have to stay in the Word and stay in prayer and not rely on our own self, but to rely on God. So I pray that this was a blessing. And remember that we're held accountable for what we know and for what we understand, and those truths that God has given us to apply to our life. We need to do that. And we need to stay aware of ourselves and to walk humbly. Micah 6:8. For God has shown you, O man, what is good. And what is it that the Lord requires? That you do justice, that you love mercy, and that you walk humbly with God. So let us stay humble. Let us slow down a little and seek God in our life. To make time for God. All the things that God has given us. That we would be responsible, good stewards. Faithful servants. Giving Him the glory. Because He is worthy. I pray this was a blessing, and thank you.